How you doing, Duff here, and I just wanted to give you a quick 3D holiday update. What I've been doing, how my printers have been working, anything new and challenging that I've run across. And as you can see behind me, I have a bunch of holiday items that I've 3D printed. Let's zoom in on them. Okay, you'll see two of the reindeer pattern that you see. A lot of people have been printing this. The reason it's so cool is it doesn't require any supports, which is pretty amazing. Like the first time I printed it, I assumed it needed supports, and it kind of looked a little messy trying to remove them. And then just for the hell of it, I tried to print a smaller version without supports, and it worked fine. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to print it full size, and that's what I came up with. You'll notice Cindy actually followed up and painted these items. Like she painted the one on the right a very cool metallic copper and gold on the antlers, and she did the one on the left in blue. I also have done many of these very popular geometric Christmas trees that you print in vase mode. They're super cool. I've done them in probably 4 or 5 colors at this point. I did this little cool fully articulated reindeer. The legs and the head are all movable, and you don't put it together. You just print it and it comes that way. I guess there's a very small connector in between them, and when you're done printing, it's fully articulated. So I think that's kind of awesome. I also did a number of these ornaments as you see here. That's just one of them. I have a bunch of the other ones at work, but they're cool. They're like little spinning deals where it's 2 pieces, and you just put the one inside the other, and then it rotates inside. And like I said, I probably did half a dozen different variations. I'm going to try to find the STLs on Thingiverse, because all this stuff that I've printed is come off of Thingiverse. So I will try to put that in the description below in case you find anything here interesting that you have not seen yourself. Now the other thing that you may notice or may not, because typically when I'm shooting my videos in here, I was always like just sitting here in front of the CR10 mostly, and I have this second hobby table in here that I had the Flashforge Finder and the Dagoma Neva on. As you'll see, that is now empty, and Cindy is using this to do some of her painting and stuff. So what I did is I actually went out to Home Depot. I had gone there the week before, and as I was walking out, I saw that they had this workbench. They had this workbench on display as you walked out of the store. And what's cool about it is it was fully assembled. I did nothing except fold out the legs. Literally all comes in a box. The legs are folded. You fold out the legs. You slap on this secondary shelf, and you're done. And it's a 6-foot long bench, which just fits this space perfectly because I have exactly 6 feet from the corner to the window. It's a great working height, and it's perfect. It's a perfect complement to my 3D printing in here, and makes things feel much less cluttered. I have more room, and I think it was $80, so very, very reasonable. And I expect to get a lot of use out of this in the future, and I have space for more printers. Imagine that. So yeah, I was very, very excited about that, and I just think it makes the space a lot more functional. CR10 still sitting there. Wasn't going to relocate that. It's a little too big for the width of the workbench, and I have the pegboard there and everything. So the CR10's fine where it is. So we're going to let that go. So now as far as problems go with my printing, I mentioned briefly in my last video that I put the lock build sheet on the Flashforge Finder, because what I have been doing is I have blue painter's tape that I would normally use on the build plate of the Flashforge Finder, but even with that tape, I always found that if I wanted consistent success with adhesion on the Finder, I would have to always print with a raft. Since I switched to the lock build, I've been trying to print some stuff without a raft, and for the most part it's been successful. I haven't had a real big issue. I had a couple prints that were a little weird, but yeah, I've been able to go mostly raftless with the lock build sheet, and I'll put a link to that in the description below as well if you happen to have a Finder, because they have all kinds of sizes for those lock build sheets. I also have one for my CR10 that I tried early on. I wound up just going to bare glass, but they make them for the CR10 as well. And the Neva has, like I mentioned before, the Neva has been frustrating me because of clogging issues that I kept having. And I think I finally figured out that the issue is the eSun PLA that I use with my other printers successfully. I use it with a Flash Forge, I use it with the CR10, no problems. But with the Neva, I think what the issue is this Bowden tube runs all the way from down here, all the way up the frame, comes back out, and comes right up here, comes up the frame and back out. It's a very long Bowden tube. And what I noticed when I was unclogging the printer and trying to push fresh filament in after I unclogged it, is it seemed like there was a lot of resistance. The filament was not sliding in the tube very easily. So just for the heck of it, I put, this is a roll of Hatchbox, because I had mentioned in my last video how I like the Hatchbox filament. It looked a little bit shinier, it feels more slippery. I like the finish when I was printing with Hatchbox. And just for the heck of it, I said, okay, well maybe I'll load some of the white Hatchbox on here and see how it goes. And just sliding it into the Bowden tube, it felt way better, much less resistance. It went in much easier. I haven't had any clogging problems since. And you can tell what happens when your Neva starts to clog. What will happen is you'll start hearing banging on the extruder, clicking or banging at the extruder. And slowly your print, the flow of filament coming out will be less and less and less. And it'll eventually be printing in air, and you'll hear lots and lots of clicking and banging. So since I've switched to the Hatchbox, it hasn't happened. So that might be something to keep in mind. They recommend the Polymaker filament for the Neva, and I know just from the small samples that I had that it did feel slipperier as well, similar to the Hatchbox. So if you have a Neva, I would recommend you stick with either the Polymaker or the Hatchbox PLA. It definitely seems to work a lot better than eSun in this situation, so just FYI. But once I got that figured out, it's been printing well as well. Okay, so anyways, I almost feel guilty that I don't have anything printing right now. It's kind of weird, and I'm sure others out there know the feeling when you have 3D printers, and if you have more than one 3D printer, and something isn't working on printing something at some point, you almost feel like you're wasting time. So I think I'm going to stop wasting time and get back to printing some more stuff. Hope you're having a great holiday, and hope to talk to you before Christmas. Thank you for stopping by. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, and also feel free to hit the little bell that will notify you whenever a new video is posted. And that's it. Till next time, Duffman out. Ouch! Fuck. Oh my god. Probably can't see that on camera. I just gave myself a puncture wound from the top of the Christmas tree. These models are cool. This point is a deadly weapon. Believe me.